Again, I want to welcome everybody who's joining us tonight. This is the Hidden Curriculum and Student Orientation presentation for the School of Engineering first-year students. I'm going to ask you to mute if you can, just because I know what happens, crazy stuff that happens in my house with my two cats, and I'm easily distracted. So I'm Marie Dieffenbach. Again, welcome to everyone who's joining tonight. I've been advising engineering students at RPI for almost 20 years now. The last couple of years, I've been advising aeros and nukes, but I've also advised mechanical students as well as biomed students. The content tonight, though, is not major specific. So I welcome all of you who are joining me from other majors other than my own. I'm happy that you're here. Again, it's not major specific. This is just general content. So I'm happy to have everybody here. So tonight I have some content I want to share with you, and then I'm going to leave time at the end for your questions. I know there's always questions. So if you joined me earlier this summer for the registration chats, we're going to do the same thing. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see the chat box. You can pull that up and just put your questions in there anytime throughout the presentation. And then I'll just open that up at the end of my prepared content, and I'll just crank through those questions, and I'll stay here tonight as long as you need me to get your questions answered. Now, just know that, you know, I am an academic advisor, so I might not know about ordering textbooks, and I might not know about certain aspects of move-in day, because it seems like that's a moving target, and every day I'm in a new meeting where there's new information. So I'm going to say check your email from the first year experience for a lot of that stuff. And pretty much, you know, what I'm going to talk about tonight is pretty much academics. So let's get started. All right, so that's me. Some of you have seen me, some of you have joined me earlier in the summer, and I'm super happy to have, I see a bunch of names that I recognize, either that we have video chatted earlier in the summer about registration, or you and I have met throughout the summer, or we've exchanged a boatload of emails. So it's nice to see those names that I've become familiar with over the course of the summer. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you who are aeros and nukes throughout this coming year, obviously. So just a couple of things before we start out here. This is an unusual year and with a very unusual start to the academic year, but it doesn't mean it's going to be bad. It's just going to be different, and it's different for all of us. And in the hub in engineering, we have always considered ourselves to be advocates for our students. And the only way we can advocate for you guys effectively is if we know what you need. So please let us know if I'm your hub advisor, or if I'm not, you can always email me. I'm the boss of the hub, so anything is going to go through me anyway. You're welcome to email your own advisor or me. You know, if you let us know what's going on, especially since it's an unusual year, we have not started an academic year like this before, and some of you have elected to be fully remote, and that's fine. But I just want to let you know that I'm open to hearing anything, and we can help. And I'll give you a real world example of that. About 3 years ago, the academic year started, and as you know, a lot of you will be taking engineering graphics and CAD this semester, if not engineering processes. And for some reason, 3 years ago, and I don't know whether the instructor started with a new process or something, but almost every student I met, I said, how are things going? And they would just talk about CAD. And it was just universal. So it wasn't just like somebody thought CAD was hard or they didn't like it. It was something that just kept coming up again and again and again. So it just felt like for some reason students needed extra help in that year in CAD. So I went to the Dean of Engineering, and he got us some money, and we hired some special tutors to work with students at night who had done well in CAD, upperclassmen. So we were able to fill that need, but the only way we were able to fill that need was if we heard about it, right? So if things percolate up, you know, we can actually do something about it. So please don't hesitate to let me know if things are going on. So let's see. So what's today about? So we're preparing you for the fall, craziness and all. So what this is called is the hidden curriculum, and I'll get into a little bit more detail of what the hidden curriculum is in more detail. But basically, the hidden curriculum is what we call all the information that we think you need to know to be successful as a first-year engineering student at RPI. And this information is based of years of our own advising experience, feedback from students, some faculty feedback, some staff, colleague feedback, and they're kind of arranged in episodes. So episode 1, believe it or not, you already did. That was your major specific registration guide that we mailed out to you, emailed back in June 17th, I think, to be exact. Today's episode 2, that's happening right now, and it's called SoE Student Orientation. Now, in a normal year, you all would have come to campus at various times throughout the summer for your student orientation, and we used to run 5 two-day sessions, and as part of that 2-day session, your hub advisors in School of Engineering, we would meet with you in person in groups to go over this content that we're going to share with you tonight. But again, it's an unusual year, so here we go, you know. So this is this information we're going to cover tonight. I know it looks like a lot of topics, but I promise you it will go fast. I'll try to talk fast, and we'll get through this together. So the hidden curriculum. So I feel compelled to share a little bit of history here. For years and years, all first-year RPI students participated in a series of fall meetings, and this content we would share with you in person, and it was delivered in person by either a faculty advisor or one of your staff advisors. And I participated in these meetings for like 17 years, and I have to tell you, they always were scheduled at the end of the day after you guys had a full day of classes. Sun was going down. It was always really boring. And students were not happy with the meeting. To be honest, I wasn't happy with the meetings. And for years and years, I used to say, like, we must be able to do this better. But we didn't have control over it at that time. And 3 years ago, School of Engineering, we kind of rebelled. And we said, we don't want our students sitting through these damn boring meetings, and we don't want to run these boring meetings. So we kind of decided to put the content online. So that you could access whenever you wanted. And best of all, no more boring late afternoon meetings throughout the fall. If you have friends in other schools within the RPI, they are still doing those meetings. And this web chat tonight will likely be the last one of these episodes in this format. The rest of the episodes you'll just be able to do on your own, in your own time, right? So the format you'll see when you start accessing these online is exactly the same as the registration guides that we sent you back in June. There'll be some written content, some video. I think you can go through them rather quickly. We like formatting, consistency of formatting, and we like branding. So this color here on all these slides, we call this Hub Blue, and you'll see it in all our materials. You'll see it on our website. And when you come to campus and can physically visit us in the hub, you'll see it all over the place. So that kind of talks about the modules that are coming up. And these will be the other modules that you're going to cover throughout the fall semester. They're really short. This is not an onerous thing that we're making you do here. We put deadlines on these things only so that we know you do it, right? So if we don't get students to participate and actually interact with this content, then we're going to have to go back to those really boring end of the day meetings, which I'd really like to avoid. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. So the way we structure all the different topics, it kind of goes along with the important academic deadlines for the fall semester. And it goes along with deadlines and topics that happen just naturally through the semester, like your add drop deadlines, your pass no credit deadlines, registration for spring, which comes up for you guys usually like late October, early November. And we also expect that these are the topics we know we're going to cover at this point. We probably will be adding some additional content as the semester progresses based on the needs that we hear from you guys in this unusual year. So for example, we just created a new online learning guide with some advice that we'll talk about in a little bit more detail. Just we're trying to respond to the needs of our students, you know, and I think, as I said earlier, you guys might have some specific needs this semester that haven't been the case in the past. So we want to be responsive to that. So yeah, so then there'll be just 2 episodes in the spring. and then you'll be done, and then you'll be all set. And those will be topics like your 4-year plan if you haven't made one, and then after that, we'll transition you over to your faculty advisor. Next topic is just a quick reminder of how advising works in School of Engineering, and it is different than all the other schools at RPI. When you come into RPI, you're assigned one of us, your SoE hub advisor for your first year, and we have expertise in specific majors. That's how we break it up. And then after the first year, we transition you over to your faculty advisor, who will be a faculty member in your major. So they will be people who are well-versed both in advising, and they are faculty members in your major. And the hope is that as you go along in your academic career and things get more specific, you have questions about specific graduate schools or careers, that your academic advisor, faculty advisor will have experience in all those areas. I have this slide up here only because if you change your major in your first year, you'll transition to a different hub advisor. So these are all the different majors, and some of you here tonight I know are from other majors, and those are your faculty advisors there. And all of these folks, I can assure you, are awesome at their jobs, and they all love working with students. So we meet with students all day long, all year long. Mondays through Fridays. Our appointments are available from 9 to noon, and then again from 1 to 4. Different advisors do different things. I generally block half an hour for an advising appointment. And if I don't have any appointments scheduled after that, they can stretch if we need them to stretch. And we're going to continue to meet online this semester. So we'll meet via WebEx like we've been doing all summer long, or we can meet by phone if you'd prefer that. I kind of like WebEx only because I get to see your lovely faces and get to put a face and a name together, right? And I'm always happy to meet with students, and I have some students who are working, and I'm meeting with them in the evenings this summer, so I'm pretty flexible in terms of timing. Just some additional information on what you need to succeed. I'm going to email you the online learning guide. I think it comes up in a later episode this semester, but I want to make sure you have this information right up front. My colleague Kara Leith, who's the ECSE advisor, worked on this summer, and what we had her do is reach out to successful RPI students who had successfully navigated online learning this past semester, and we asked them for their best tricks and tips, how they survived it when everyone kind of got kicked off campus in March for COVID. So she's also developed a checklist to help students with like daily, weekly reminders for how to, just how to set up your physical space, how to, just how to stay on task and stay disciplined if you have classes that are online. We're hoping we make it through this whole semester on campus. But if we don't, even though most of your classes as first-year students are all in person, there will be some components that are online. And hopefully, as I said, we'll all make it through the semester without having to go back and be remote again. I don't know why my slides are no longer advancing. Oh, there we go. So our faculty actually asked us to put in something about email etiquette. I think at a certain point, faculty members were just getting too many emails that just said, "Hey, Mishra, I can't register for your course. Can you put me in?" No name, no RIN, no other information. And I think our faculty go to school for a lot of years, and they work really hard to become faculty at RPI. So I think they just want a little bit of respect. And so I think it's always a really good idea to put "Hi Professor" or "Hi Doctor such and such" in your email. Identify yourself. It's not the same as a text. We don't know who you are if you don't do that. And even though your RPI email roughly corresponds to your name, it's not always a perfect thing. And so we don't want to guess that you're the wrong person. I really like the idea of setting up an automatic signature in your email. And pretty much anybody that wants to wants to help you with anything, we'll need your RIN number, that RPI ID number that starts with 661 or 662. So if you include that with all of your correspondence, that'll just enable us to get back to you that much faster. Okay? And it just looks like you have your act together when you have one of those automatic signatures set up. So just one final word about registration. I promise we're not going to talk about registration. We did that earlier this summer, and I'm hoping we're done and dusted with that. If you still need to make changes, you can absolutely do so. Registration is open for everybody now, and it's going to stay open through the second week of classes. So the Friday of the second week of classes is the add deadline for courses. And you can change your schedule an infinite number of times up until that point. So after 2 weeks, we don't let you add classes at that point, because at that point, you're really a little bit too far behind to kind of catch up and still be able to do well in that course, right? That's our concern of what that deadline is. But right through the second week of courses, you can add and drop at will, basically. After that, you can't add any more classes, but the drop deadline is quite generous into the semester. Usually the drop deadline is at least halfway through the semester, so it gives you plenty of time. If you just tank the midterm or you're just not struggling in a course, you'll be able to drop it. And as long as you drop a course before the drop deadline, it's like it never happened. It doesn't appear on your transcript. It doesn't appear anywhere. So as long as you meet the drop deadline, and we'll talk about that in one of the modules later in the semester. Sometimes you'll choose to drop a course or put a course on a pass no credit basis. And there are strategic reasons why you would want to do that. And there's also some strategic reasons why you would not want to do that. Again, if you need help with making registration changes, you can make an appointment with me. You can book that right online, and I'll be happy to meet with you. I know there are some of you I'm sure I owe emails to. I'm still digging out from emails from basically the last month or so. This summer was crazy intense in terms of work and emails because of us not being on campus. I normally don't make students wait weeks to hear back from me. If you haven't heard from me, you will, but feel free to resend an email if you're still waiting to hear from me. I've been up past midnight the last couple of nights trying to catch up, but I am working on that. So let's see. I want to talk a bit about resources on campus, and some of those are really important and really helpful. We have a writing center that can help you with writing assignments. As you know, we have learning assistants in the Res Life halls. ALAC, that's the Academic Learning and Advising Center. They have sponsor all sorts of tutoring and extra help. Normally that's held in person in the evenings, but I think all tutoring is online. But they are going to have online assistance. Normally, most of the tutoring is available for first-year classes. So you guys will definitely, in addition to your faculty and TA office hours for each individual course, there is also academic support through ALAC, the Academic Learning and Advising Center, for pretty much all first-year courses. And then if we find that's not enough, again, as I said earlier, feel free to elevate issues to us. If like a certain course is just kicking your butt, let me know and we can see if we can get some additional help, right? There's a lot of help available on campus. First Year Experience Office, I know you've been dealing with them all summer and even before that. Health and Counseling Center right in Academy Hall. I think they're doing virtual as well as in-person visits. We have a great career center here on campus. We have a study abroad office. We've got a lot of resources on campus, and I can tell you I've worked in a lot of places in my life, and the people I work with at RPI across campus are kind of the most awesome people I've ever met, and they really like to help students. And if you go to somebody or if you email someone and they're not helpful to you, please let me know. I know pretty much everybody on campus, and I will bug the crap out of them until they help you. So please let me know if you're looking for help. And even if you don't know where to start to look for assistance, feel free to reach out. So there's still going to be student life on campus this semester. Tons of clubs are opening. You're still welcome to work with the Career Center for internships and co-ops moving forward for next summer and the summers after that. They also run a lot of good programs and workshops. If you don't have a resume all set up, they will help you set up a resume. If you need help with writing cover letters, they can help you with that. And then we have these things, we have mock interviews where people from industry come to campus, and I'm assuming now they will do it virtually for this semester at least. And they will actually interview you and do a mock interview, and they will film you so that you can see that and kind of improve for any interviews you have in the future. And so that's a super, super useful thing, I feel. So we do still have Greek life. Athletics, I don't know about interscholastic, but hopefully we'll have intramurals again this semester. I think that a lot of our students, a huge percentage of students, participate in some kind of intramurals at RPI. And I think particularly for our engineering students, I think after being like in your head all day and working on pretty intense stuff all day long, it's great to just get some physical activity and just like get out there and run around and get some stress out that way. And then, of course, as I'm sure you know, there's literally hundreds of clubs available through the student union. I was just in a meeting today where we talked about the next couple of weeks where you'll participate in Navigating Rensselaer and beyond. And I know that we have over 60 clubs participating in that, and they are eager to recruit first-year students because they need new students to help make the clubs run and work, and they're always looking to recruit. And pretty much any interest you have, there's going to be a club here at RPI. So that's pretty much it for my content. And in a second, I'll go into that chat and start taking your questions. This is my email down here, dieff@rpi.edu, and you have that information from all the emails I've sent all summer long. Please feel free to make an appointment with me if you haven't, because at some point in the fall, I think we should meet and talk about what your goals are. If you're looking to get out early, if you're looking to do a dual major, if you're looking to do a minor, or you want information about the co-term program, the earlier I know about your goals, academic and otherwise, the more I can help you attain them, right? So let's stop sharing my screen. I'll put on my camera and hopefully not scare you. Let's see, where am I? And I'll get the chat going. We'll make that go away. Ooh, look at your nice faces. Oh, and I've met with a bunch of you. Oh, it's nice to see a whole bunch of you. Gabe, I like that little beach you got going there. Very nice. Wish I was on a beach right now. Nice. Nope, I don't want to do that. Helps if I click the right button. Where the hell's the chat? There it is. Okay. All right. What's my question? Sorry. Okay. Disregard the request. Sorry. Did you get my question, Gabe, that you were asking about? No? Okay. Let's see. You can put on your mics if you want. You can put on your cameras if you want. What's the portal that we see our grades and stuff? So it should be SIS, that, you know, where you went to register, the student information system, Dalton, where, you know, you put in your classes and everything in the student menu, you'll be able to see your transcript. In terms of every different faculty member will run their class differently. A lot of them will use a system called LMS, and they post the grades for everything on LMS, right? And so hopefully, I actually was in meetings today where we talked about, we reminded our faculty members that first-year students haven't been at RPI before, and we want the faculty to reach out to all students in first-year classes by email and let them know, okay, this is how the class runs. This is, you know, I'm using LMS, or I'm using WebEx, or I'm using Discord, or I'm using Slate, whatever, and just giving you the access to all of that stuff. Most faculty, I want to say, tend to post grades throughout the semester on LMS. So that's pretty much the mechanism that most faculty use. At the end of the semester, obviously, you'll see your grades not only in LMS, but you'll see them on your academic transcript. And those faculty actually are required to post grades within a certain number of days after the final. So, so that you don't have to hang around and wait after you take the final and wonder how you did in a class. So that should be, you know, if you don't get a grade in a class within a couple of days, feel free to let me know and I will bug faculty on your behalf, without names, of course. I don't want to get you in trouble. I don't want to bust anybody. Should we order our textbooks before or after school starts? Okay, so Sunny, what students have told me over the many, many years, they always advise wait until you get to the first class. And that may seem kind of counterintuitive, but a lot of times faculty will have textbooks on their list in the bookstore, and then you'll get to the first class and they'll say, you know, I just had that on there. We're probably not going to get to that. We're not going to really use that book this semester. I've just had that on my list for years, and you've just spent $300 for a book that you're not going to use, you know? So a lot of students will advise first year students to just try and wait and hang tough and wait till you go to that first class. And the other thing you can do is if you have your faculty member's name, your instructor's name, you can always email them ahead of time and say, hey, just checking, you know, these are listed in the bookstore. Are you going to use all of these books? Because, I mean, the textbooks are just so outrageously priced, you know. And then some students will kind of go online and get them cheaper. Just be aware that sometimes the editions may have changed. So you might be at a disadvantage if you get an old edition. It could be wicked cheaper, but it might not have the correct like homework problems or, you know, review sections or something if a faculty member assigns you a specific thing, right? But most of the students who I've ever talked to say try to wait if you can. And most first semester students don't, because they're usually your parents are freaking out and they want you to get everything right away. So it's usually something that you learn after that first semester. Do we get RPI backpacks? Wow, Melanie, I don't know why this year would be any different. Students always used to get backpacks with their laptops because they would give you like your laptop and put it in a backpack. And you always knew who was, because they changed them slightly for every year. So you always knew by someone's backpack if you were walking behind them whether they were first, second, third, or fourth year student. So I'm assuming that that they still come with the laptops. I sure hope so. What will be the printer capabilities and costs for students on campus? Ooh, I know that every student in the past, and I don't have any reason to believe it would be any different, Melissa, that you get like a budget of for printing. But to be honest with you, most homeworks and assignments and papers are just submitted online. You know, over the 20 years I've been at RPI, the printing needs have really diminished quite a bit. Sometimes students will bring a cheapo printer to campus just for, you know, ease sake. But there are printers, there are public printers around campus. For example, there's one right outside of our office in the Johnson Engineering Center, and students will make use of that all the time. So, you know, and right on most of the networked free printers, it has the connection that you just have to go to access those printers. So the vast majority of students will come to RPI not having a printer. You know, they'll just use the one that's on campus. I can't tell you the cost because I just don't know them off the top of my head. I've got to think if you go to like the tech support, basically the academic computing, they have their own help desk and stuff like that. I'm afraid of what Dalton's holding up there. Let's see. I don't have to worry about it, Dalton. You're telling me it's not something to worry about. Okay. Let's see. Do the transition from high school to college. The first year students usually do well academically. Enrico, absolutely, yes. The vast majority of first year students do very, very well. I think the average GPA for the first semester last year for the class of 2023 was somewhere in the like 3.2, I want to say. So I think that's pretty damn good for RPI. As a rule, yes, students do quite well with the transition. I mean, I'm going to say there's always students that flame out, honey. You know, in my 20 years, there's definitely been students who have not made it to the second semester at RPI. But I think you kind of have to work hard at doing that poorly. You know, I've honestly had students who like never left their room for the whole first semester, never attended a class, ended up with 0.0 GPAs. And that's how you get thrown out, but that's really unusual. You know, you've got to really not want to be here to do that. As I said, average GPA around 3.2, I think that's pretty good. Will the gym be open? Stanley, I'm sorry, I have no idea. I have no idea. You could shoot an email to the first year experience office. I know they're probably backlogged, but I'm thinking that they would know. Will athletic-based clubs still be open? For instance, dance. So Juliet, I actually was in a meeting recently where someone said that the dance club is going to meet this semester and they're going to make it work. I think they're going to have people in small groups in various locations. So our students are extremely smart and they figure things out. And I think they've been spending a good part of the summer, the students who are involved in clubs, I think they've been spending a good part of the summer looking at all the rules that RPI has put out for the semester and figuring out how they're going to make their club work regardless, right? I can tell you that there are students at RPI for whom clubs are almost more important than the rest of school. You know, they just get so involved in them and they become, they become leaders in their clubs. And it's so, club life is so important at RPI that I am 100% convinced that the majority of clubs are going to figure out a way to make it work, even with all the restrictions that we have. I really believe that the vast majority. And I was super skeptical about dance, but that was specifically mentioned to me that the students who are involved in dance are figuring that out. You know, so I'm happy about that. And normally, most years when you guys move in, the following weekend, there's this thing called the activity fair, and all the clubs set up tables in the union, and all the first year students just go through, and it's like usually on an afternoon. Because of the situation we're in and everything's moved online, the activities fair is going to go for like 3 whole days. So you're going to have the opportunity to find out about all the different clubs and basically get on their email lists. And that's kind of how you find out about when they meet and how they meet and all that kind of stuff. So I'm super excited that the activities fair is going to take place this year, and it's going to be for like 3 days, which I think is fantastic. Let's see, where do we see where our required textbooks are? So I believe that if you go in, somehow in SIS, I think there's something in the student menu about textbooks. Has anybody used that yet? Can anybody answer that question better than me?
So
Juliet, Juliet knows, she's done it. Go ahead, honey, go for it. You got to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I did do this. There's this through the bookstore. If you enter your RIN, it will give you an itemized list of all the textbooks that you need immediately. I could probably, if you're okay with me sharing my screen, I could probably like pull it up and show you.
Sure, go for it, honey. I couldn't remember. I had an old lady brain fart, and that is 100%. I actually knew that once upon a time and just forgot it.
Okay.
Is it letting you share the screen? Awesome. Good.
Okay. So I'm just going. I forget the bookstore website, so I'm just going to search through it real quick. But
yeah, take your time. We're good. Thank you for helping out today, honey.
No problem.
On my laptop, I have my my kind of default browser thing brings up RPI info. And if you go to RPI info, it's just got links to everything. And I think the bookstore is actually one of the links on there.
Yeah, but on the bookstore thing, it says shop by RIN. So I'm just going to enter mine. I don't really, you guys see it's my RIN. What are you going to do with it?
People be cool about Juliet's RIN. Don't even look at it.
And it says select term, and I go fall, find courses, and once it loads, it shows all of my courses that with the textbooks.
So it looks like they have a new, new kind of interface. So I'm glad you brought this up. Okay, choose only one of two. Okay.
So that's the text with the access card, like the physical book. These are the different courses. That one doesn't have books. That's
Yep.
And like it has all the different books, and I can just click to buy all the ones, and like I can extend it and like add all of them to cart. That one's like a rent. And there's all my books.
Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you. Let's see. Textbooks. They sent us an email about Module 3 in Precipio where they talk about required online assignments. I've done many of them, but I not see some of the ones they say are required, such as 2 about bias and another about cultural divides. Yowza. Okay. The only thing I can think of is that there's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff in Percepio right now, and I don't know if it takes them a while to, to show that stuff has actually been completed. Knowing RPI as I do, that kind of doesn't surprise me. For a tech school, we don't have the greatest sometimes technological things, which isn't right somehow, but you just kind of get used to it. I would say if they're still saying that you have outstanding stuff, is there any kind of support button on Percipio or anything? Do you have the option of, asking a question or support or help or anything like that? If there is, I would do that. If not, I would email, the first year experience, your class dean, Janelle Fayette, and say, already did this, I can't imagine you'll have to you'll have to redo it or do it twice. How will the laptops be distributed? God, this year, who the heck knows? Usually once you get to campus, they'll start sending you emails and all sorts of information about that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that.
They're right, it's going to be when they do the COVID testing when you arrive on campus. So as soon as you arrive, basically.
So they stick something up your nose and they hand you a laptop for it?
Yes.
That sounds pretty good. That's a pretty good deal. They stuck something up my nose and I didn't get anything, like nothing. I think it's pretty good to get a laptop, actually. So thank you for that. Let's see. Will we be able to use the library for studying in between classes this year? Sarah, my understanding is yes, but I think the public buildings, my understanding is that things like the library and the union are going to be limited to a certain number of students at a time. So I think depending on when you get there, you might have to wait, like when you're going to grocery stores now. And so there's always been like little places on campus that students find to study, there's like official lounges, but there's like all sorts of like little benches underneath staircases in the academic buildings and all sorts of funky places to study. So if you ask upperclassmen, because they're not going to be on campus, a lot of them, they'll be in apartments. If you can get on Reddit or Discord or something and ask upperclassmen, like, where's your best secret studying spot? That might be helpful. I know like we have tons of students that tuck underneath stairways and stuff like that in the engineering building. So, I think it's going to be a challenge, particularly around like exam time, if they're limiting the amount of students in the library. I think you're going to want to kind of seek out these little hidden spots that you can go to. And I think for a lot of them, they're so hidden that I don't think you're going to have to worry about masking or anything like that. So I think there's a bunch of places around that you'll be able to find. Ask your RAs and stuff too, like on the DL, where's the best place to study? Let's see. Based on what is happening on large campus schools like does RP have concerns how long we'll be on campus? Well, I would say that we are all concerned, Doug, and I've been reading a ton about it this summer, and of course, we all heard about UNC, right, at Chapel Hill just in the last couple of days. And, like I've been reading about other schools, and particularly in that one, and I don't think they've done nearly the precautions that we have. And I don't think that they actually tested students when they got back to campus. So, they had all like and it's a much bigger school than ours, right? Like 4 times as large. They had all these students come back to campus, and I don't believe they tested them in the beginning. So like, I kind of think that's crazy and you're almost asking for trouble. Whereas everyone at RPI's campus is going to be tested. Everyone's going to be quarantined. And then you're going to be tested at least twice a week the whole semester. So I feel like RPI has done real due diligence. And because we're a STEM school, I think they've really been guided by the science and not by politics and stupid stuff. So I think that I think we have the best shot. I honestly do. I don't know that I would have said that back in like April, but I've been in a boatload of meetings and I know that you guys are getting changing information, but I think the reason information changes is they figure out a better and safer way to do things. So I actually am feeling really hopeful that we're going to all make it through the semester. And I think it's in everyone's interest to do that. I think people just got to not be stupid, right? You know, like, and I, you know, I mean, it's human nature. I know, you know, when I get back to campus, I'm going to be pretty excited and I'm going to be excited to see my colleagues and friends and all of that. I'm not going to go, you know, drinking without a mask with a bunch of people, but, you know, I think human nature is human nature, right? But I do know a ton of upper class students and they all really want to stay on campus in terms of online, you know, they don't really like online learning. So I think a lot of them are going to behave themselves for no other reason that they don't want to go and, you know, have another semester online. I really do. I think the upper students are going to have your backs and kind of vice versa. And we are a community and I'm just hoping that people are really going to, you know, like take that seriously. And I honestly think RPI has thought this stuff out really well. I really do. So let's see. If we close due to COVID, will we get refunds for the meal plan and housing plan? Damned if I know, Ramses. I have absolutely no clue if what the refund situation is. It might depend on what time of the year it happens, how close it is to the end. Let's see. I wonder if there's any, they're not going to have anything online about that and all the COVID stuff, I'm sure. Let me ask that question. I'm going to make a note of it because I want, it's probably a question that more people will have. I will definitely find that out. Oops. I really hope that doesn't happen. Okay. Is it an option to order beddings to RPI? Yes, what resources would you recommend? I'm sorry, that's really a question for Res Life. I'm sorry I'm stupid about a lot of these questions, but you know, like courses and academics is kind of my jam, not so much on the sheets. So I've got to think that, you know, go on to Reddit or Discord and ask an upperclassman, did they use them and, you know, what did they think? I always think our students are the best and most honest source of information, quite honestly. I know I ask them all the time. You know, I rely on students and their experience a lot. What's happening with outdoor clubs like archery and hiking? I'm sure hope that those are taking place. Like our RPI outdoor club is so active and the ski club is so active. You know, I mean, the best thing to do is get outside, right? It's the safest place to be. I know we're meeting with all of my friends outside. So I've got to think that they're going to happen. If the dance club is meeting for Juliet, I can't imagine that the outdoor club is not going to meet for you guys. So, but look for information, I would say, and definitely for that 3-day activities fair, hit up all these places that you're interested in, the outdoor club, the archery and stuff like that. Will there be any opportunity for us to leave our dorms during the mandatory 2-week quarantine for exercise, etc.? From what I've read, I think you're stuck. I think it's a little like prison kind of thing, right? I think you got to walk around the prison yard of your dorm room or something, you know, and maybe bring a pull-up bar or something. I don't know. I think it's going to be a long 2 weeks, right? I know it would be for me, but I don't think you're going to be allowed out. Will you be allowed to leave campus during the semester? I believe so. I haven't heard that students are not allowed to leave. I think they're, you know, like if you go to Walmart or, you know, someplace like that, you're just supposed to be safe about it and, you know, wear masks. New York State, masks are mandatory, like everywhere in public. So you can't go anywhere without a mask. Can't go into any stores or anything without it. So I don't believe you're restricted to campus, because we have students living off campus all over Troy, right? So I don't think we can really honestly restrict you to being on campus. Let's see. Do we use RPI ID to pay for meals, or do we get a separate card? I have no idea of how you pay for meals. I'm assuming it's your ID. I don't think you get a separate card. How does the laundry situation work? I think there's laundry in every dorm room. I think it's a group situation. But I guess for that first 2 weeks, you better bring enough t-shirts and underwear for 2 weeks, I guess, or it's going to get really ugly, I'm guessing. So yeah, I would definitely bring enough for 2 weeks for sure. And then might want a little bit extra for after that, because everyone's going to have to do laundry at the same time, right? There's always a bathroom sink, I guess. I emailed financial aid, but didn't get a response. That is not a big shock. Do you know how finding a job for work study works? Once you fill out the required app, is it automatically assigned, or do you need to apply in person? I don't believe you need to apply in person. You can, I think you just, they, within the financial aid, like portal, you have the ability to choose certain places for work study jobs. I can tell you that we always take work study students in the School of Engineering Hub, and it's an awesome place to work. We really don't make you do anything. You have plenty of time to do homework, and you meet a lot of faculty members and a lot of nice people come into our hub all the time. Yeah, I would say, I like the academic placements for work study, because you do get to meet people that, faculty, staff that are going to help you, in a whole bunch of different areas. You can totally work at the gym or any of those other places too, but I don't know. I like the academic side personally, my own opinion. But I don't believe you, like we've never interviewed anyone. Like you just kind of get assigned a place and they take you, and you just try and do a decent job. .cio for the Precipio stuff. Thank you, Leah Sweeney. Man, good thing you guys are here. The HBH for physics people. Okay. Seaweed, everybody's in the molecule covered the hadron seaweed. Okay. For any order textbooks, are you thinking of using your home address or the mailing center at RPI to pick it up? Ooh, I think I would probably have it go to campus, I mean, we're kind of, the administration is destroying the post office, right? So you can't go by that, right? So there's not a lot of time between now and the 22nd. So I would tend to think you'd want it delivered to campus, right? Graham said, yep. I've arrived this semester. I received, okay, or missing material. Well, see, I agree with all you guys. And so should we update our residence as our home or where we are on campus? I think you have the option of like a permanent address and a local address, I believe, because when I look at student info on SIS, I feel like I get a permanent one and a local one. We'll be able to go home at all during the quarantine. God, I hope so, Kush. During the semester, you mean, right? Do you get to go home during the weekend? I haven't heard that you can't go home for the weekend. How did everyone get COVID? We had to do laundry. That's very funny. That's true. It's a good one. Okay, will we get mail during the quarantine? Ooh, that's a good question. God, I hope so. It would be nice to get care packages, wouldn't it, when you're in prison? I think that would be lovely. That's a really good question. I will ask that. Will we be able to put roomies after first year? Absolutely. I'm really sorry that didn't happen this year. I can't believe that they didn't let people. I know some students who had planned to be roommates and they weren't allowed to do that, which I think is kind of insane. 100% after your first year, you get to pick where you live, you get to pick who you live with, all of that good stuff. So that's a good thing. Who can we email about questions and concerns regarding mail delivery while on campus? Huh. I know there's like a little post office on campus, but I don't know if you can email them directly. Andrew, I will check out. Oh, fresh clothes. Nice. Yeah, that would be a good package to get while you're in quarantine, right? Like, please forget food. Just send me underwear. Okay. All Questions? Okay, so I'm developing a list of stuff that I had no clue about. Will my room have space for this big whiteboard? Oh, that's what you were showing me, Dalton. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't, that's not that big. Yeah, it's definitely be big enough for that. You definitely have walls big enough for that. If not, you can kick your roommate out of bed and use his bed. You'll figure it out. That is a nice whiteboard, I have to say. Whiteboards are good. That's a very good thing. Are parents allowed to visit, give things during quarantine? I don't think so. I don't think they are. I think you're on your own. But I mean, let's be serious. You think your parents are really gonna, if they want to see you, they're not gonna see you? I mean, they're gonna figure something out, don't you think? You know, I can't imagine that. But our parents allowed to visit, give things. If we're an upper class dorm, will we be moved when sophomores return to campus? That's a really good question. I don't believe that you're going to get moved when the sophomores return to campus. I don't think they're going to move you into different rooms. I think they're going to give sophomores crappy rooms instead of moving you guys. I can't imagine. That would be way too many people to move. And some of the sophomores, you know, may not end up coming back next semester and waiting and stuff like that. So I think that would be crazy. And plus you've got your RAs assigned and all of that. They're not gonna like mix you up in the middle of the school year. Okay. Let's see, how big will the meals? No, they are not, Sally. They're not moving you, right, Gabe? They're not moving you, right? Okay, that's what I thought. How big will the meals be? Why are there only 2 on the weekends? I have no idea about on-campus food. I bring my own damn food every day. I don't know anything about your food, I am sorry to say. But like, I think you could legit ask, you know, like you ask, you know, on move-in day, like ask all these questions, you know, I would absolutely ask those when they're giving you your key and stuff. Like, what's the deal on the meals? You know, like how come I only get 2 meals on the weekends? Maybe they're assuming that you guys are all going to sleep till noon on weekends and then you'd only eat 2 meals. I don't know. When I was your age, I totally slept till noon on weekends. Let's see. Yeah, I know. Poor sophomores, man, that class is really getting hosed the worst. I've been meeting with all my, you know, I mean, I'm close with all my sophomores because I had them all last year and I talked to them all summer and they really are getting a raw deal. I feel terrible about it. Let's see. Yeah, Bar H is supposed to be nice. Yeah, you know, like feel free to, you know, talk and meet other people and use this as a venue for shouting out to your friends and stuff. So you guys are starting to come this weekend, right? The 22nd? Are some of you coming on the 22nd? Cool, cool. Well, it's coming fast, man. You guys will be here before you know it. I'm super excited. And I get to come back to campus, so I'm super excited. Let's see. What do you think is the hardest class in the Aero stack? What do you think is the hardest class? Well, I'll tell you. Everybody hates strength of materials. Not just arrows. Everybody hates that class. In fact, I was just talking to one of my sophomores today, and he's like, that class just kicked my ass, and I hated it. And I'm not sure why everybody hates it so much, but like for 20 years, everybody hates that class. Doesn't matter who teaches it, doesn't matter, you know, like it just doesn't matter. They changed the textbook. I think it's just the material. So I'd have to say strength of materials is one of the most widely hated classes. And a lot of students take that. Mechanicals take it, arrows take it, nukes take it. But in terms of, you know, most students, I have to be honest with you, don't complain about the aero classes very much at all. You know, if you're a comp sci student, everybody hates data structures, right? There's no class that's like that in the aero curriculum that people really tend to hate. There's some that are harder, but like when you're a junior or senior, you take a class called Fluid Dynamics Lab. It's only a 2-credit class, but the lab write-ups are tough. But you learn a lot and it's cool, you know, like you get to go in the wind tunnel, and they put like models of vehicles in there, and they showed like the flow visualization over it, like they blow bubbles and you can see how the aerodynamics of the wings and stuff work. And even though those lab write-ups people complain about, the class is just cool. So even if there's hard classes in aero, I think it's the best major because students really like that major, and they really don't complain about a lot of the classes, I have to be honest. It's almost more the core engineering classes, the ones you do the first couple of years. Physics 2, everybody hates physics 2. You know, they're just certain classes, strength of materials, but those are not specific to aero. They're classes that all engineers take, you know? So, so yeah, all right. You guys are going on, which is awesome. Let's see, I just want to see if there's anything I missed. All right, so that's all your, I'm here, I'm there. Ooh, City Station. Wow, you guys are in City Station? That's pretty nice. Would there be opportunities for work in the hub for those not? You have to get work study pretty much to work on campus, I'm afraid. If you don't qualify for work study, there's not a lot of places on campus. There are some places, like I think in the union, that will hire students. And then, you know, if you do well the first semester in classes like CAD, they'll hire you to, you know, be like a student TA in CAD, even though you're only like a first year student. So there'll be opportunities like that. But, you know, for most of the offices on campus, you know, we have so many work study students that we have to place that we really only have the budget for student workers on campus is primarily work study, I'm afraid. But you can come and hang out with us. Just can't pay you. Give you candy. We got a lot of candy. And we have some hub swag. We can give you Play-Doh and stuff with the hub logo on it. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry for listening my music. Oh, moving into bar H. Okay, I need to get some. Well, people are doing work study. Will people who are doing work study still be able to do it during COVID? I think it's going to depend on the location, right? So I know some offices are not having work study students. We are, because we, first of all, we love having students around. Second of all, it's your money and we want to make sure that you get it. So people were giving us grief about having student work study, but we have a pretty big physical location and we're going to be able to have students be distant from one another and from us. So we are accepting work study students. Not all offices are, but then there's a lot of students who are not going to be on campus this semester. So I'm hoping that it will work out that even though there might be students who are in offices who are not taking students, that there'll still be enough to have placements for everybody. If there's anybody on this call that gets work study that really wants to work in the hub, shoot me an email and let me know, because if you request us and we request you, it's pretty much a certainty that we can get you. And you know, I think it's a great place to work. I think most of our students would say it's a great place to work. So I think that's it for the questions. Any other questions or anything that I didn't cover? I'm going to get you out of here in under an hour. I was shooting for 45 minutes, but I wanted to make sure I got all your questions answered. Anything else? I'll give people a chance to type something else in. It was lovely to see so many of you and even see your little initials. Just knowing that all of you are on here, it's a lovely thing. It makes me super excited to be back on campus and see all of your lovely faces, even though we'll all have masks on. I guess we got to memorize we have to memorize what we look from the nose up, I guess. So we'll recognize each other on campus. So I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. I hope you have a good rest of the week. Oh, Ramesses is showing me what he looks like with a mask on. But I hope you have a great rest of the week. Good luck packing and moving and safe travels and all of that. And you know where to find me if you need me. And it was lovely to have you join me tonight. It was super nice to see all of you. Lovely to see all you guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you super soon. Thanks again for joining me. Everybody stay safe. Awesome. Thank you. Ooh, that's a lot of beeps.